Ever wondered why some horses are blanketed but others aren't? Whether it's really cold weather, rainy days, or pesky bugs, blanketing can be essential for your horse's comfort. Today we're going to go over the when, why, and how to blanket your horse safely. Although we try to keep our horses as naturally as possible, because they are domesticated, there are many reasons to blanket a horse. One would be winter weather. We live in Canada and it can get to -40 Celsius. Our thoroughbreds and old horses especially don't like to grow a lot of hair, so we blanket for their comfort. Then there's other things like the bugs in the summer, there's rain, and some horses don't do well with that. And then maybe even things as simple as trying to keep their coats nice and clean for the show. We'll start with our summer collection. This here is a rain sheet. They're waterproof. Be aware though, as they get older, they do lose their waterproofing, and you can just throw them in the wash, buy a little liquid waterproofer, and fix them right up. Next, we have a stable sheet. This one is actually a thermal therapy, which has a little bit of that ceramic properties that help keep the muscles loose, but you can just have a sheet that looks like this too. That's just simply to keep your horse clean in the stable. This is not meant for turnout. Here we have a fly sheet. This one has a neck attachment. Of course, that's for our bugs in the summer. I like to pair my fly sheets with a fly mask because, as we know, the bugs love to go for the face. You have two main categories of fly masks, the ones that are a little shorter like this, and then the ones that do actually cover the nose. So they have this extra piece. Some of them do not cover the ears, but I would definitely go for one that does because the bugs love to go inside their ears. Then most fly masks do a very similar way where it's just under the throat here. Make sure you do them up nice and snug. Having the right size also helps because you want to make sure that they're not pushing against the horse's eyeballs. Some of them actually will even have a little more structure so that they give the horse's eyes clearance. People that come to the farm who aren't horse people believe that our horses have been blindfolded, but I guarantee you they can see through the mask. Now moving towards our colder weather sheets, this is called a cooler. So in the winter when our horses get really sweaty when we work them, we put this on and you can see it's a fleecy material and it soaks up their sweat so that when we put them back out, they're not wet in the cold weather. Now we have here a really nice winter blanket. This is my favorite. The winter blankets are thicker. They have fill inside of them. So when you're looking at a winter blanket, you want to look at two different things. One is the denier or denier, which is the thickness and strength of the outer layer of material and like the tightness of the weave. The higher the denier number, the stronger it's going to be, the less likely your horse is going to wreck it. And then the other thing is the grams. So 300 grams of like fill or stuffing would be the minimum for like a warm winter day in Canada. But we often in Canada have to get like 600 to 1,000 grams, which might mean a thicker blanket and another blanket underneath, such as a stable sheet. So this blanket, you can see the material is very thin. It would easily rip if caught on anything, but it's not meant to be a top layer. It's meant to go under another winter blanket to add that gram number. So going from a 300, maybe plus a 300 to get to the 600 mark. In Canada, sometimes we're even triple blanketing because it is so cold here. Another piece that we can add to both our winter blankets, rain sheets, even fly sheets, is a neck piece. This one's detachable. The fly sheet I had shown earlier is permanently fixed. And you just have to make sure that you have the matching attachments. So this blanket here, it's a Velcro attachment for the neck piece. And then you need to ensure that the corresponding neck piece also is Velcro. How to blanket. First is make sure your horse is okay with blankets. If you don't know if your horse has been blanketed, I would definitely check this step without them being tied. You never want to cause a horse to be scared while tied. Introduce them to the blanket, let them sniff it. Next thing is to move it around. And what you're checking for is any sort of reaction that shows they're not okay with it, which would be their flight response, them running away or getting tense and kind of going into dissociation. Here she is actually like totally ignoring it. The next step would be touching them with it. So you could touch them on both sides and don't be ginger and like, are you okay with it? Are you okay with it? Because that's not a real test of if your horse is okay with something. You need to actually just approach them real casual, throw it on them gently, but just to make sure, are they okay with all that movement everywhere? Because the blanket may touch them anywhere and everywhere. Especially making sure, yeah, back legs are good, front legs are good, all the things, and then do the same thing on the other side of the horse. Now that you've checked that your horse is okay with the blanket, you may put the blanket on. I have her tied just for simplicity. Now again, I have made sure she's okay with it. And so I just simply let the horse know it's coming, and then I throw the blanket on. I am not going to sneak anything on a horse ever. If you feel you have to sneak your blanket on, again, the horse is not okay with it. Make sure your horse is okay with it. You should not ever feel you need to sneak around an actually fully trained horse. Okay, so blankets on. Lots of blankets have a seam down the top line. Got that lined up. Now, there's a safe way to put on blankets, and it's always starting from front to back. This blanket has a permanently attached neck piece. That will be the last thing. So even though I did say front to back, neck pieces are an exception. If I just simply do the neck piece on and she spooks and gets away, the blanket is going to dangle off from her neck as she's running around the yard. If I only do the belly up, same thing, she spooks to get away, the blanket will twist, but probably stay on her in a very poor way, and she can get hurt. So the safest way to do this is front to back. Now this blanket has closures that, this is probably a more cheap blanket. So it just has a Velcro closure, and then it has these little straps here. They do the job, but you often get the gapage. If you tuck your little ends in, your blanket will stay more organized for a longer amount of time. Even the best blankets though, horses like to roll, horses run around, they scratch on things. And so because of that, your blankets probably will shift or shuffle with time. So now I've put my blanket on, but what I'm gonna have to do is go to the other side. And now again, I know my horse is safe to work around on both sides. So see here, this is why we check the other side, because I just simply threw it on and it was crinked a little bit. So we make sure the straps are hanging straight. The line is in the middle of the back. Yay, good. Okay, and then we're gonna come back around. And I'm moving her over again. This is a safety consideration. Anytime working around a tied horse, always make sure you have an exit, should they ever spook at something. So now the belly bands, you do them up in a crisscross manner. So there we have a little twist to make sure we get rid of that. And then lots of the belly bands kind of do up the same way. Now I'm looking at these buckles, and this is actually too loose for her. If she kicks her own belly, getting like the flies off her belly, or she rolls her leg and gets stuck in there, and she would get tangled in the blanket. So let's go around and show you how to adjust that. So we want to adjust these belly straps so they're really tight. And same for the front. To tighten the blankets, it's just a little slide mechanism. And again, we want the straps quite tight. Another safety, when we're reaching under the horse, we're reaching with their heads facing forward. So again, if they go to kick at a fly while I'm under there, my face will not be the one that gets kicked. There, that is a much better distance from her belly. She will not get a leg stuck in that. Now for the leg straps, they just go around the leg, and at the back of the blanket, you'll have a clip, clipping on there to show you where the front attachment is, because leg straps often break, so we're often replacing them. You can see there's a front attachment right there, but look at how loose it was. So then again, this is too long. Just like the belly straps, they need to be nice and snug, so slide them up. And then we crisscross with the other side leg strap, and that just holds them away from the insides of their legs to prevent chafage. There, every neck piece is created differently. There might be a different number of straps, but this is the most common idea. There, ta-da! To check your blanket fit, you want to measure from the center of the chest on the horse with a bendy measuring tape or a string all the way to the point of the buttocks. If it was 76 inches from the point of her chest to the point of her buttocks, that would be your blanket size. If the blanket is either too big or too small, you just risk either creating rubs. When they move around, it might shift and then hang, and then there's more of a chance that they step on it, falls off, or they rip it. Winter blanketing, stable sheet on first. And you can see this is a 300 gram. The stable sheet has no attachments on the belly or the back because it's meant to be put on very quickly, and the outer winter blanket holds it on. You would never turn your horse out or even have them in a stall with only this style of sheet because it won't stay on. There's a magnet that clicks on the interior, and then this top piece here clicks in, which is covered by a Velcro strap. Now, when we look at that, this closure, we don't have any of that gapage. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this, please like and subscribe and send a comment with what you'd like to learn next from Fields and Fences. Pro tip, remember that blankets aren't a set it and forget it. They need to be checked daily for rubs, shifting, and to make sure the horse is the right temperature with your hand sticking under, checking for sweat.